Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North East Non-League Show, episode 62, which tonight we're going to be chatting all about Consett, sponsored by DJ Private Hire, Gateway Accountancy Services Limited, Elite Goalkeeper Academy, and Motivate. And joining us tonight, we have massive Consett fan Jason. Jason, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
No bother, mate. Thanks for having us on again.
Excellent. Like you say, normally we want to chat about all the teams around that area, so it's nice to come on and just chat about your own team and kind of put your stamp on things, isn't it?
Yeah. Know a little bit more about them.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah.
And starting off, like you say, it's going to be a bit more. We've had a lot of people in the last few weeks kind of going over their team season so far and the aims which we're going to do tonight with Consett. But at the start of the season, August, unbeaten. 2 wins in the FA Cup against Kendal and Penrith. In the league, 3 wins against Winton, Sheffield, Ashton, and then Dunstan as well. I mean, at that point, you must have thought, we're going to Wembley here, we're going to win the league. You must have been happy with that first start.
I was just about to book my hotel down in London. No, it was a great start. Couldn't have asked for much more, really. Just progressing a bit further in the trophy in the FA Cup was loads better than what we did last year. And like you say, we had a great start in the league. Something else we haven't seen for a while was the Matty Slocum goal. So, yeah, couldn't have asked for a better start.
Evening, everyone, as well. Thank you for getting the comments in. Really appreciate it, as always. And like you said, I know we chatted, I think it was towards the end of last season when we did one of the review shows and talked about Fawcett coming in, the job that he did at the end towards last season. I mean, with the job that he did, you must be in confidence going into the season of obviously the kind of stamp that he put on the team towards the end of last season, do you think?
Yeah, he come in mid-November, I think, and started off with a few draws and that. But, yeah, I mean, I think our aim, if the club was honest, was just staying away from relegation. Yeah. And we did that and just build on that. Again, I think like every other team that's gone up in the first season, you realise how physical the league is. And I think this season we've adapted to that. Brought a few stronger lads in. And lads know, they know the players and that now. So, yeah, so really impressed with the way things have gone.
Definitely. I mean, you always know after the end of every season, you've got to then bring players into the squad to improve going next season. If last season finished, what was the positions that you looked at to say, right, that needs strengthening going into the new season, do you think?
Oh, goalkeeper, definitely. I'll not say too much about our number one last season, but he cost us a few goals with his clangers and irrational decisions and that. And we got Aaron Stevens in, who looked good, who's like since departed, and then James Anderson, who's looked different class altogether. He's kept us in games this season where that was totally different last season. And again, I think that makes a difference on our goal difference as well from last year to this year.
Well, that's it, isn't it? No, I think it was a few weeks ago. There was a video on trying to save a shot with his foot, and like they say that, and it was Consett fans putting on. We've had it in other teams. I know what he's like, so it kind of came from that, didn't it?
I would see the deal with him, but I've also got to mention as well Will Shaw, like stepping up from South Moor, which I think is like four steps below us, and he doesn't look out of place at all. 6 goals pre-season, I think, and 12 up to now. He looks like, again, a young, strong lad who can put himself about a bit. So I think we've done well in both of them positions there.
Yeah, it's always nice when you pick up them little gems. Definitely. I think one disappointing thing was kind of going out the FA Cup. I mean, 2-0 at Bradford Park Avenue. Like you say, you did have a couple of wins in the FA Cup, but I think you're looking at the money, the income, it would be nice to go that little bit further, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. As a club, yeah, you want to go as far as you can for the money. But again, on the day, they're just, you could tell they were a step above us. And I know they're in the relegation zone, but it is a big step, and it's just one of them things. But like I say, getting embarrassed at Gould last year 4-1, it was just nice as a fan to get that 2 extra steps, and hopefully go a bit further next year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another trophy as well that we mentioned was the FA trophy at Brutal 6-2. But then the next game, I think, was the big one, which kind of raised a lot of eyebrows after the good start, couple of cup losses, but the 3-0 win at Hebburn. I think a lot of fans must have been excited that one, because I know we talked before the start of the season, kind of putting Hebben in stock, and I think we put Hebben in to win the league quite easy with the squad that they kind of got over. So that must have been a great victory, and like you said, a lot of confidence for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, again, at Bootle, as a fan, it was a great away game. You know, a few pints, meeting the fans. You know, I mean, the result just was one of them things. But then coming back and beating Hebben. I mean, we played great, but to be honest, I've never seen Hebben play so poor. And on Boxing Day as well, I was talking to a few Stockton lads who said they were poor when they got beat down there. But again, you know, it was we stepped up, we did it, we beat them, and for once it was nice to see Arj get one over on his brother. It's normally the other way around.
I remember actually. I remember on the social media, it was all about them two, wasn't it, on the night?
Aye.
No, I love it, man. But like you say, we always mentioned Hebben before the start of the season, and when you you have a good start and you play the likes of Hebben and Stockton, if you get them wins, you kind of think, oh, hold on, like how far can we actually go? But with the wins that you had at the start of the season and that one, you kind of think, right, what's the next thing after that? I know after that, obviously, after moving up to fourth after the 3-1 win against North Ferriby earlier as well, and like it could have went top, apart from that, obviously in the 94th minute winner. For us at Town, and that must have felt a bit at the time, obviously on a roller coaster up, and then all of a sudden the last minute sucker punch. But still proud of obviously this opening start, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it would have been nice to go top, but I mean games like that, late goals cost you. I mean, but like people that they're seeing their swings and roundabouts. I mean, we got 2 late winners at Liver's Edge the other night, so it's just one of them things. Bit disappointing on the night, but so like I say, things even themselves out quite into the season.
Yeah, I think it's quite important those games, because you'll see teams getting beat the last minute, and I think it's quite important to see what the manager reaction is, the player reaction, has it affected them. So like you say, at that level, you can't affect it too long, because your next game could be coming in 2 days' time. You've got to quickly switch back on and get back on the pitch, don't you?
That's it. And I mean, this season, Tony's been doing like after-match interviews, which we haven't had for a while. And he is a quite honest lad who's come out and he says what we think as well, So, the lads are disappointed, but they pick themselves up. And like you said, 2 or 3 days later, you've got another game. You just got to get on with it. Yeah,
and as a fan, like you say, it must be nice to hear the manager after every game. And I know sometimes when they're not doing them and you're kind of having a chat with your mates in the bar afterwards, but it's nice for them to come out and be honest. And I think most managers that come and do these interviews now, they're doing a high behind the performance, they come out and they tell the truth now, don't they?
Yeah, and that makes a massive difference. I mean, I know we can talk to him in the bar afterwards, but we'll try not to, try not to approach him when he's sitting there with the lads and that. Like, but no, it's nice to hear them. I've been on to Gary maybe to get a player on every now and again after the game and hear from the players' side as well, which would be good. But no, I love the interviews, win, lose or draw. It's nice to hear the manager's view on things,
No, it is. I mean, overall, 2023 from the start of the season up until obviously the Christmas time, what was your overall thoughts on? Were you happy with that start?
Yeah. Like I say, first season just avoid relegation, and then I'm quite happy mid-table, to be honest. But where we are, it's great, as long as we can just keep pushing on. But I mean, like most teams now, injuries is hitting us. So it's just about grinding out them results.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the injuries there. I mean, with the squad, it's not always the biggest squad there, isn't it? I know a couple of you players may need to come in. I think going forward, if you are challenging them playoffs, it's about keeping the lads fit, but then obviously having players to come in positions when they're out injured or suspended as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard like James is out for a little bit, the keeper. So we'll get the young lad in from Sunderland 21s. I mean, obviously the game was postponed last night, but hopefully we'll get a chance to see him on Saturday. But yeah, like you say, it's just having lads in. I mean, we've moved Calvin from midfield now back to right back, where he seems settled again. It's just about moving players around and the players doing the job when they come on.
Yeah, it's like you say, fitting them players, and I think a lot of clubs now around that level and obviously above, which is all say mask, and obviously the players that they're hard and literally just go and pick them off one by one. And I think a lot of
Yeah,
teams now have got to be careful with the size of the squads, the wages that you're paying. I think a lot of clubs you'll see it, especially at that level now, they've got to be very careful, like you say, with the amount of outcome that they've got, finances, buses, stuff like that. They've got to be really careful now, looking at the marks situation, don't they?
oh yeah. I mean, speaking to people in the club, clubs are asking daft money, players are asking daft money, and you cannot have that sort of money sitting on benches. Last season we got a few young'uns in who's not happy sitting on the bench, so they jump back down into the Northern League to get a game, which you can understand. So it must be hard for the club and the manager to keep them lads on the bench happy. And then when you've got a winning squad, you don't really want to be unsettled in that. So yeah, they've got a tough job there. But then again, I wouldn't want the club to go out and spend daft money.
Traveling, isn't it?
Aye, but I wouldn't want the club to go out and spend daft money on players, and then you end up like Mask, and in 2 or 3 years' time you end up like them. You've got to be sensible, really.
100%. In 2024, started with a 2-1 win versus Liveridge, then a loss 2-0 to Dunstan. What was your thoughts on them two games?
Well, I didn't go to the Livers Edge game. I went to Spennymoor and Scarborough, which I was always intended on going to when it was on in December the 2nd. But speaking to the lads, I mean, it was great, and the fans absolutely loved it. Like I said, two late winners. I think I'm not sure if they went down as 2 own goals or whether Will got his name on one of them. But a bit like the Ossett game, but like in our favour this time. And then Dunstan. I mean, before Dunstan played, I said Belper was the best team I'd seen played. But then Dunstan is just a different class. And then before we come on there, I say they're winning 3-0, or they were winning 3-0 at Claythorpes.
Yeah, it's in a few goals.
I think they're 10 points behind Stockton with 4 games in hand, so I think they're going to be the team to watch. But Dunstan, it's one of them things. We had a penalty decision, didn't go against us, but you get on with it. They got a goal a few minutes later, and then we pushed everybody up front for a corner, including the keeper, and we just got caught on the counter break, so that's how they got the second. But I think Dunstan will be the team up there now. Maybe it's them in Stockton.
I know we've got the Scottish show tomorrow about the league itself and stuff like that, and the results at the minute for Dunstan, I'm sure that the last 6 or 7 of them, I don't think they've lost. I think they've won them all or drawn them.
I think they're 7 unbeaten at the minute.
Isn't it?
Aye. Yeah, I know they didn't have many games in December because of cancellations and that, but I'm pleased we're travelling to Claythorpes on a Saturday. I wouldn't like to be going down on a Wednesday night.
That's the only thing, these midweek fixtures, man, they're a night, especially the weather, like you see, the amount of games that's getting called off 10, 15 minutes before the kick-off. It's ridiculous now, isn't it?
I mean, it's like the other week when I messaged you, when I met Dan, we were down Sheffield watching the Newcastle and Sunderland game, and the game gets called off because of a little bit of an area on the pitch not playable. It's just crazy. But the trouble is then, on a Saturday game, it gets put back to a Tuesday night.
Exactly.
So,
yeah,
it's crazy.
That's it. Like you say, the club's already been killed with paying the buses out and stuff like that, and then the clubs feel sorry for the fans. What can they do to get them? It's just, you can't win, can you?
Yeah. I mean, but again, the same day we did it, I mean, Dunstan had a game past at 9:30, and Belper travelled up, and then it gets called off an hour beforehand. It's so they've made a decision at 9:30, or the refs made a decision at 9:30 to let the game go ahead, and the match official comes and calls it off. I mean, a bit like the Darlow game last night, 15 minutes before kickoff. I don't know. I don't know if it's the officials, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think it's just crazy at the minute.
Yeah, something's got to be done. Any Consett fans well watching? I mean, what's your thoughts on the season so far? Obviously, a lot of players available now. Is any players going to come in? What's your thoughts on this squad as well? Get them in the comments. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Help the channel grow as much as we can as well. So, like I say, we were supposed to play Ashton last night, but again, postponed game. And like I say, just so many games at the moment. You just have that backlog. But moving forward now with the squads, I mean, like you say, with the players that you've got, from what you've seen, kind of November, December, games of January, is there anywhere, if you could say, right, there's someone who now got strengthened, what would be that position that you would look to strengthen?
But I think like every team, you would go out and get a goal scorer that can get you 20 goals a season. But it depends how much money. It depends. It depends how much money you've got and how much wages you've got. I don't know. Maybe he's left back. But then again, when Arger's fit, Arger's slotted in there quite well. We've got a few centre backs like coming back. Dan's coming back. Ben Milburn's coming back soon. So I think like since we lost Michael Sweet a few seasons ago and Dale Pearson, we've been missing a 20-25 goal scorer. Yeah. But like I say, every team's looking after one of them. So that's where I would see it. Give Zach and Scotty a bit hand up front.
Definitely. I mean, looking at the aims for the rest of the season, well, I mean, where you're at the moment, sitting 6th, and like it's so close up there at the moment. I think it's 1 or 2 wins between. I think it's 2nd, 3rd place down to about 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th even. It just changes week in, week out. I mean, what would your aims be now, sitting just around that 6th place? Would it be playoffs now going forward, do you think?
I think like after the season we're having, I think the fans, and I mean, like I say, I predicted mid-table, but I think anything around the playoff place would be a fantastic achievement. I mean, we've been up in the playoffs, so if we can get up into the playoffs, that would be fantastic. Like,
yeah, I mean, looking at this, I know we've got obviously our short tomorrow, looking more in depth at the league and stuff and all the results over the last couple of months. But you're literally looking. I had to write this down. It's unbelievable. I mean, looking at the North East teams in that division: 1st, 2nd, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 10th. I know that probably changed now with Dunstan winning as well. It just shows you how strong they are. I know obviously Ashton, Newton, Aycliffe, the start of the season a bit struggling, but even those now are pushing on, looking for their playoff spots. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It took, which I was surprised at. It took Ashton and Aycliffe a little bit to get going, but again, I think North East teams are doing great in that league. I think after tonight, I think Dunstan will go to 3rd and drop us down a place. But it's looking good for all the teams.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think like who's been the strongest?
Who's the strongest?
Who would you say, that you've seen play the season? I know you mentioned Dunstan, obviously up there as well. What, like the likes of Stotton Heaven up there, but has Dunstan been the main team that's really impressed you?
Yeah. I mean, home and away. I mean, they had a player sent off at their place and 0-0, which we were happy about because it's one of them bogey grounds for us. Like I say, we haven't got Belper at home yet, but I was impressed with Belper at their place. But I would say over the 2 games, Dunstan is the team that stood out for me.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's still quite a while to go this season, but I mean, it's literally fingers crossed. But how good would it see, literally from first down to the end of the playoff, all the North East team where you guaranteed to have 2 teams hopefully going up? It would be great to see, wouldn't it? Yeah, but I think most people looking at that league, like in the North East, would have picked 2 or 3 North East teams to be in that top 2. So that just shows how strong we are. And then, but I mean, like we've said, over the next few years, this league will just end up like the Northern League. It'll be full of Northeast teams, and it'll just get stronger and stronger. So, but I think anybody would have picked. I don't think anybody would have picked anybody else apart from 2 Northeast teams to go up. Yeah, 100%. Just want to ask you about obviously like the finances and stuff for obviously the teams that's in the league now. And I know obviously teams have had to kind of drop back down to the Northern League. And obviously now, because it's a part of the football pyramid, you've got to take that obviously promotion from the Northern League up. Going forward, I mean, you've seen the likes of Ashton this season, Newton Aycliffe, and I think Ashton's like the GoFundMe, stuff like that. It's quite worrying, like you say, when they have that good season. I mean, you're just picking a random team in the Northern League. It might be someone that's sitting mid-table who the stadium might have literally 1 stand, they might get 50 fans, and all of a sudden they're going to, like you say, have a great season, that one season, win the league and go up. It's hard for them teams, but you can't say no now. You've literally got to go and get promoted, don't you? It's hard for teams.
Yeah, it's compulsory now, but I think the FA has got to look into that, forcing teams to be promoted. It's crazy. This I mean, attendances has fallen at most places now because obviously Newcastle and Sunderland's doing well, cost of living and all that sort of thing. So I think really the FA has got to look at maybe going back to what it used to be. If you win the league, then you don't have to get promoted and do it like that. Because again, I would hate to see in 2 or 3 years' time, other teams going under, or like Mask dropping down into whatever league they're going to be into. It is pretty frightening.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like I say, like Consett, I mean,
Yeah,
everybody would want us to have the, pay daft money and get players in and this, that, and the other. But you've got to think of the consequences in a few years' time, and you've just got to be sensible,
No, 100%. I mean, look at the teams in the Northern League. I know Bishop obviously flying at the moment, top of the league, and looks like they have got it all switched on. They've got, I mean, the ground, the attendances this season absolutely amazing. Where like it's a team like that will come up, no problem, probably get a few more through the gates as well, and they should do okay. But like you say, it's just one of those sides where, I mean, for example, West Auckland sitting third at the moment. I know they put a statement on last night, but obviously trying to compete with wages against. I mean, like it looks a bit right there, bringing 4 players for Mask, and they just said they couldn't even get off a quarter money what they were offering compared to Redmond. And it's just like one of those teams come up and they've got to go and then got all like they say the drainage on the pitch. They've got to have 2 or 3 stands, whatever, the hard ground stuff around the outside. You kind of just pull out money, but then the chairmans, the people, the committee, they're feeling under pressure to make sure that they try and go out, and that's what's killing the club, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, it's the off-field costs as well. But again, it's like, I mean, I'm not going to quote any figures, but I know like our floodlights has trebled in the last few years. And it's costs, to have the facilities open, and without paying the players on the pitch, it's all the off-field things as well. It's the cost is. But like you say, like Bishop, you're saying like they'll improve the crowds, but see in this level now, when you're playing, like I've stopped going to some of the games because just for the time. And then you're not getting as many away fans as what you used to. So I don't know. That's probably one of the reasons as well why crowds has fallen. But there's a mixture of reasons. But yeah, like I said, it's just going to be hard for any team. But I think, like I've just said before, the FA has got to look into this about having automatic promotion. They've got to, like I say, maybe go back to what they used to do. So it's not punishing the clubs for going up.
Yeah, so you should go out to be happy, get the success, and then sometimes you must. I mean, you must see some teams like the chairmans must think, right, we've got to be careful. If we keep winning, we're going to get promoted. Let's just try and go lose a few games to make sure we stay in the Northern League. It sounds daft, but I imagine there is talks like that ongoing for some clubs in that league, isn't there? Because like you say, they've got the playoffs now in that division, haven't they, this season? So it's going to be interesting to see who actually comes up.
I mean, like, obviously we went up by the playoff, ended up going down to Histon in Cambridge to win. But it's just. But then as a fan, you don't want to be watching your team thinking, oh, they've gone out to lose because they don't want to get promoted. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully we'll not see many clubs go and bust again or having to be demoted and things like that. But it's just tough times for everybody.
100%. I mean, just talking about the off-field stuff, I know you're always up there and getting involved. I love, like you say, just literally putting your pictures on, saying you're having a cup of tea when there's the pitch in front of you. I mean, anything going off the field at the moment? Are there any plans, anything going on?
Well, I hope they're getting the boiler fixed so we can get the games going ahead. I don't know. I haven't heard much going off the pitch. I think, like, talking to people up there, we're ready for, like, step 3 off the field. So I don't think there's any improvements that we need to make. We've done everything we need to stay in this level. But and then, like, I mean, everybody gets on about it being an all-weather pitch. It is to a certain extent, but if the water doesn't drain away or there's snow on it, you kind of brush the snow off because you've got all them black plastic things on it. So I think it's just a false thing saying it's an all-weather pitch.
I mean, it's frozen. It's hard because we were training last week. The Barron was training last week. It's solid goalkeeper training. It's covered in bruises all over. I couldn't believe it was still on.
But I know the club. They've had a couple of water issues, and the latest I've heard is the boiler's broken, which you're talking daft money to get that fixed. So that's why the last couple of games have been postponed for us. So again, as a club, you're wondering, where that money's coming from and what effect pulling money out to fix a boiler will have on other sides of the game.
It's mad, isn't it? We've just got to think about little things like that, isn't it? Like you say, a lot of fans think, oh, it's just a boiler, get it fixed. But hold on, are we paying the boiler? Are we paying the bus fare? Are we paying our gas fare? You've got to add them all up, don't you? It is.
I mean, I was doing the buses a couple of years ago, and I mean, now you're talking a bus, you're talking £800 to £1,000.
I bet.
I mean, I bet that Sheffield bus was nearly £1,000, you know, and then you've got that to pull out again on a Tuesday night sometime.
It's not good, is it? I mean, just finishing off on the league. I mean, looking at them teams at the moment. I mean, who would you say would winning the playoffs, and who do you think will go and win the league this season?
I would say Stockton and Dunstan, but I'll go for a reverse. I wouldn't know which team to put first and second.
And where do you think Consett will finish? Do you think?
Hopefully in the playoffs. I'm hoping get in that top 6 and then get a playoff game.
Yeah, like you say, it'd be nice to see so many like the Northeast. It'll be good class to see the playoffs is Northeast versus Northeast. So you tip one to go obviously to win the playoffs. Do you think there'll be a playoff final Consett in there? What do you think?
Oh, it's hard to tell. It's
halfway.
It's one of them things. It's one of them things as well. Like, if we went up in the step 3, would that be too soon for us as a club? You know, I mean, like as a fan, you know, first season avoid relegation, second season mid-table, third, fourth push for playoffs. I don't know what the finances are behind the club if we were to go into step 3.
And like I say, when you look at Morpeth, for example, obviously won the league, climbed up, and it's the same, isn't it?
Yeah. It's surprising how much money you need behind a club to do what they need to do.
Yeah, because Morpeth, like you say, they seem to have hit that level, and they've been in that division a good couple of years now, where it's around the mid-table. Like, obviously, they're not finishing just above relegation, but pushing on a bit. But they're not seem to be up the top. They just seem to hit that level. But like you say, it's finances, and some of the teams that's even dropping down that league now. There's some big names in there now, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. Once you get to a certain level, I mean, you find your own level, but then, like you say, you've got bigger, better teams with bigger, better budgets, and you know, obviously they're going to be up there and around them top places. But I would like to see us in the playoffs. I mean, if we get promoted, that would be absolutely fantastic. But again, when you look at the money side of things, it's one of them things where financially, could we afford to go up? I don't know. I'm not the person to answer that, but
no, with fingers crossed for you. Like you say, we just wish you the very best of luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, back on the end of the season, talking about a playoff victory, possibly. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully.
No, Jason, pleasure having you on as always. Like you say, we wish the club the very best of luck. And anyone that's watching, like you say, please get across the Facebook page, Twitter for Consett, like and follow, and just help the club as much as you can, share and like in the post and everything as well. And we are back again tomorrow night at 9:10, just going over the steps 1 to 4 December January review, joined by Jacob, Peter and Andrew, chatting about their clubs as well. So it's a really good show tomorrow night. But again, everyone that's been watching, and Jason, thank you very much for your time. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your night as well.
No bother, mate. Cheers, mate. Catch you later.